Hey Bill, can you prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the Earth is a sphere and not flat? Because I have a lot of Facebook friends who say that it's flat, and I just can't convince them. Thank you.
Is the Earth flat or round? It's round.
Mr. Nye, are you trying to dodge that young man's question? The man on the computer screen clearly asked a specific question. He said, Bill, can you prove that the Earth is a sphere and not flat? He didn't ask you if it was round or flat. He asked if you could prove it was a sphere. Let's go ahead and play it one more time, shall we?
Hey Bill, can you prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the Earth is a sphere and not flat?
Is the Earth flat or round? It's round.
Hey Bill, can you prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the Earth is a sphere and not flat? Is the Earth flat or round? It's round.
Oh, Billy, you're just being silly. Come on, you're just hamming it up for the camera, right? You're funny, Bill. We all know there's a big difference between round and sphere. Come on, those are two completely different terms. You know there's a huge difference. I mean, tires are round. We all know that. And of course, donuts are round.
Donut.
And my dog's bowl is round.
Damn!
And that ass is round. And check this out. Here's a concept. Quarters and all coins are round and flat. Can you believe that? An object can be round and flat? What if the Earth was round and flat? Man, what a concept. Round and flat. Say it with me, people. The Earth can be round and flat.
Okay, now let's see. How do we go about proving that? Go to the seashore. Go to a seashore and figure out why you can't, if you live on the East Coast, figure out why you can't see Spain from the East Coast of North America.
Man, you're funny, Bill. No wonder Disney picked you up as a comedian and then labeled you a science guy. Clearly, Bill is just hamming it up for the cameras, everybody. He knows as well as I do, you can't see 3,500 miles across the ocean. Here, let's Google how far it is exactly from New York to Spain. You'll find out that it's a distance of 3,578 miles from New York to Spain across the North Atlantic Ocean. Now, do you really think you're going to be able to see across the ocean without a little bit of rain, hail, sleet, snow, fog, and precipitation getting in your way? I mean, there's bound to be a few rainstorms in a 3,500 mile distance that are going to clog up your view. If you're to look to the far right, you can see that the island is in clear view and there's no rain or anything blocking our view. So it's really easy to see the island to the right. It's clearly visible. Now, if you look to the left, it's much harder to see the landmass. There's only a small rainstorm between us. However, that small rainstorm is clogging up our view. And even with a powerful zoom from binoculars or a Nikon 900 or even a powerful telescope, all you're doing is magnifying the view in front of you. You can't see through a rainstorm. It's a common misconception that you can see through anything in front of you and see forever if the world was flat. This is a complete misconception. Even with the most powerful of telescopes, all you're doing is magnifying the view in front of you, and even the most powerful of telescopes is going to haze out if you try to see through a rainstorm. Furthermore, in a 3,500 mile stretch across the North Atlantic Ocean, there's bound to be several visibility issues. Now, even if it was 100% crystal clear for a 3,500-mile stretch, our visibility is still limited by the vanishing point of our perspective. Now, some people can barely see across the room, let alone in front of their face without their glasses on. So it is quite comical to assume one could see forever if the Earth was flat.
It looks like you might have a St. Louis hat on. I'm not sure. Just go to the middle of the Mississippi River and look south. Why can't you see the Louisiana? Why can't you see New Orleans? What's the problem there?
Wait, hold up. Did you just tell that man from the beginning of the video to go stand in the middle of the river in Missouri and look south and ask himself why he can't see the Louisiana? Stop, Bill. Stop. You're killing me, bro. You know as well as I do the Mississippi River doesn't run in a straight line. You just told that poor man from the beginning of the video to stand in the middle of the river in St. Louis and look south to see the Louisiana. Yeah, like he's gonna be able to see through all the mountains and hills and man-made structures in Arkansas and Mississippi all the way to the Louisiana.
Well, then climb a tower or go to the top of a hill or a mountain, and you'll see a little farther. But you will not see to the other side of the earth, places we know to exist. For example, I've been to London. I can tell you, other people have.
Whoa, you've been to London and you can tell me that other people have too? Well, that's critical information right there.
I've been to Vancouver, British Columbia. And you cannot see Vancouver, British Columbia from Boise, Idaho, let alone from New York City or Toronto or what have you.
Hey, how come I can't see Walmart from my front door? I know it's in this direction about 3.5 miles from my house. I mean, why can't I see it? Oh, I know. It must be because of the Earth's curvature. All right, in all seriousness, people, even at 30 miles high, over 100,000 feet high, the horizon is flat, okay? There is no curvature. Furthermore, just because we're up over 100,000 feet high doesn't mean we can see forever. We are still limited by the vanishing point of our perspective, and we are still limited by visibility issues such as weather patterns, smoke, smog, pollution, chemtrails, dust, dirt, clouds, rain, sleet, snow, ice, hail. You get what I'm saying? You cannot see forever, even if you're up really, really high.
Just start there. Then if you'd like, look at pictures from space where you see the Earth as a sphere.
Now, even NASA will admittedly tell you, with their thousands and thousands of satellites, they only have composite pictures of the Earth as a ball. That's why when you Google Earth from space, they all look like cartoons and CGI. NASA can't quite decide how the Earth looks. The continents grow, the continents shrink, they change colors. And it's pretty obvious when you zoom in on these images, you can find CGI-related anomalies such as copy and pasted clouds. But hey, don't take my word for it. Take the word from NASA's own Robert Simon.
In 1972, we saw our home in a new way. Apollo 17 astronauts snapped this picture.
It gave people the first look at their home planet as a single entity.
Last week, scientists at NASA released this. The shot is compiled from data from NASA's VEERS instrument, which orbits the Earth about every 100 minutes, taking measurements of light coming off the planet. That can be translated into ribbons of imagery like this, and then into one of these. And this is just the latest in NASA's Earth from Space album, which may be one of the most mind-expanding collections of images in human history. Then in 2002, Blue Marble 2.0, NASA's Rob Simon made this. Simon's job is...
It's primarily taking data and making pictures out of it.
That's what this is, a composite of data sets from several different instruments translated into a picture.
So we actually had to take clouds out.
They stashed the clouds for later, went onto the ocean. That came from an instrument that measures phytoplankton in the sea.
Where it was low, I colored it dark blue because they're low mostly in mid-oceans. And then where it's a little bit higher, it was like a little bit brighter green.
Then add the clouds back in.
There's a small problem with it because there's a very slight gap in between each orbit.
So some of those are painted on.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Then
There was another layer to sort of simulate the atmosphere.
And then there's this little bright spot.
It's called the specular highlight. So it's the reflection of sunlight off of water.
Those are the pieces, but you can't just slap them all together.
It just didn't look realistic. It looks kind of flat, or the clouds are sort of too see-through. So I just hit Command Z a lot.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space. But I've looked at these images over and over again, trying to sort of get the essence of it. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Those pictures are not faked, and I'll tell you just, if nothing else, here's why you can tell they're not faked. Just to create the paperwork that NASA has created, for NASA in this one case, just the paperwork to send anything out in space, to send people into orbit or to send them to the moon, that amount of paperwork would make faking it prohibitively expensive. No one could afford to generate that much documentation.
So if we were to look up the definition of conspiracy, it says a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. But according to Bill Nye the Science Guy, there are no such thing as conspiracies because it requires too much paperwork. Yes, that's right. NASA has never conspired or done anything deceiving because of paperwork. If there's just too much paperwork.
And the other thing, if you want to get into this, if you're really serious, if your friends are really serious, have them get on a boat or a ship and go out at sea, and you'll notice you can't see infinitely far. Furthermore, if you get into it enough, pick up a book about navigation or go online and learn about navigation. A very, very important thing you have to take into account when you try to navigate the ocean from a ship or a boat is how high you are off the sea surface. The higher you are off the sea surface, the farther you can see, the farther away the horizon is.
Now, while I do agree with Bill that the higher you are off of the sea surface, the farther you can see, that does not mean you can see forever, even if the Earth is flat, which it is. Now, as I've said earlier, we've sent up weather balloons over 30 miles high, that's well over 100,000 feet. And the surface is always flat, and it doesn't mean you can see forever. We are still limited by the vanishing point of our perspective, as well as visibility issues like weather patterns, as I've already mentioned. Come on, Bill, you know better than that.
Oh my. Now, this discovery that the world is round was made it was published in 1540. Now, I'm concerned, it was Copernicus. I'm concerned it might have been 1530, but it was about then. It was in the 16th century that the Earth was shown to be a ball.
Really? It was shown to be a ball in the 1500s. Well, how did they get up there high enough to capture the whole ball? And what kind of camera did they use in the 1500s?
But it was known to be a ball by a lot of other people before Copernicus in the Western world, what we now call the Western world, Western Hemisphere. The ancient Greeks noticed that from time to time, the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. This is a lunar eclipse. And the only shape that always produces a curve, no matter what the orientation, that is to say, whether you're standing in Greece at night or if you're standing then 12 hours later in Buenos Aires at night. The curve, the shadow is always curved. So the ancient Greeks knew that the Earth was a ball.
Sorry, Bill, but lunar eclipses are not a proof of a globular Earth or a flat Earth. In fact, lunar eclipses can be explained in a few different ways in the flat Earth model. For instance, many different cultures believed there was a third celestial body equal in size to the sun and moon that causes the eclipses, and this was known as Rahu, or the Black Sun. Now, I can't tell you if Rahu or the Black Sun is indeed real, but I can tell you that the moon seems to be a light of some sort of its own, and it is not reflecting sunlight. The moon appears to be creating its own light. So perhaps eclipses are when the moon is rebooting itself or resetting itself to begin its light-giving process again. If you try and shed light upon a sphere, it does not light up the same way the moon lights up. This leads me to believe, and many flat earthers to believe, that the moon itself is a light. Somewhat like the sun, the moon is producing its own light. However, the moon's light is different than the sun's light. Whereas the sun's light is warm and golden, the moon's light appears to be cool, cold light, if you will. Here's an experiment that anyone can perform at home, and many flat earthers around the world have done this. All you need to do is take 2 digital thermometers, or any thermometers if you will, and get them to the exact same temperature together. Then what you want to do is put one of them in the direct moonlight, and then you want to put one of them under moon shade. So you can do this in a number of ways. This guy right here is using a couple of boxes to get this done, and he's putting the temperature gauge in the moon shade, and then he's also putting one in the moon light. And then you want to go ahead and walk away for a while so that they can change temperature accordingly. Now, the interesting thing that happens here, which many people will be shocked to find out the result, the moon shade will be warmer than the direct moon light. It's the exact opposite of the sun's light. You know how when you're in direct sunlight, it's warmer than when you're in the shade. The moon's light is the exact opposite. When you're in direct moonlight, it's cooler than when you are in the moon shade. So if you are to try this experiment yourself, you can usually see a couple degrees difference between the moon shade and the moon light. This leads many of us to believe that the moon is emitting its own cool light.
And you guys, come on. Everybody watches newscasts. You all use mobile phones. You all see airplanes fly around. You all go to see Ed Sheeran in concert one day in London, another day in Melbourne, Australia. This all depends on our fundamental understanding of the size of the Earth and its shape with extraordinary precision.
And you all go to see Ed Sheeran in concert one day in London, another day in Melbourne, Australia.
Ed Sheeran? I don't even know who that is. I've never seen him before, and I've never been to London, and I've never been to Australia, so we all don't do that. And even if I did go see Ed Sheeran in London, and then I flew to Australia, that doesn't prove that the Earth is a sphere. That just proves that I flew from London to Australia. Man, Bill, you're being really shady today.
I was trying to suppress that because it wasn't clear that it had that same connotation. But you saw what I was thinking.
Do you have a degree? Where's your degree from? You sound very shady today.
Yeah.
You're acting very suspicious. I want to know what's going on, and I want to know now.
And if you want to get into it, the Earth isn't quite a sphere. It's a little bleh. Its spin is a little bleh. Stretched it, made it slightly oblate, as the saying goes. This is all susceptible to analysis, but spend some time learning about navigation. Tell your friends to spend some time learning about navigation. Navigation's changed the world, by the way. What are you wearing? You're wearing stuff that came from another part of the world on a ship. It didn't get here by magic. It got here through science.
Actually, these cheap Chinese goods that I'm wearing didn't come from science. They came from hard manual labor of children in sweatshops, and then the goods were loaded onto a giant barge and then shipped over here. So, yeah. So some of you may be wondering, what in the world is up with Bill Nye? How come he can't debunk this flat earth asshole guy? How come he didn't do any experiments proving that the Earth is a sphere? How come he didn't show us any diagrams? He didn't show any irrefutable proofs. What's up with this Bill Nye, the science guy? Well, I tried to tell you people, he's nothing more than an actor. Disney created Bill Nye, the science guy, and made him popular as we now know him today. If you want to know Bill Nye's education level, he's actually got a bachelor's degree of science in mechanical engineering and nothing more. Bill Nye the Science Guy is not a scientist. He's just a highly paid, highly talented actor playing a part. So who is this man really? Let's dive in and find out. This video clip comes courtesy of my friend's YouTube channel, Thomas Scott News.
You're acting very suspicious. I want to know what's going on, and I want to know now.
Oh, wait, no! Oh, my God!
This looks like a job for Speed Walker.
It's Speed Walker, the physically fit superhero who fights crime while maintaining strict adherence to the regulations of the International Speedwalking Association. Heel toe, Speed Walker!
Entertainer, great humanitarian, my personal friend for over 30 years, Bill Nye, the Science Guy.
a big payoff. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Way to go.
Tourists think they can park like they do anywhere.
Uftaban, a domestic disturbance on 22nd, in progress.
Ufta 1, understood. It's a little busier than I thought. I gapped the plugs last week. She's flooded. We'll have to walk, that's all. I mean, it's Ballard. Nobody's going anyplace.
This is where you gotta play it especially cool, these domestic quarrels. These can be real dangerous, even in Ballard. This is where you really earn your pay, right here.
Your mother told me to pay you to take
All right, what's going on here? Break it up, break it up.
Dan Morrison made $1 million.
I know, what's the problem here, gentlemen?
Boone kid doesn't want to take us accordion lessons.
What? I'm not taking accordion lessons. Accordion is lame.
Hold it right there.
Right.
Look, young man, you fold up that accordion, you go in that music store and take your lessons right now. I would be very skeptical of that technology.
Okay.
Very skeptical.
So we're going to talk about GMOs because you were anti-GMO for a while, right?
Well, I was skeptical.
Seems to be a recurring theme in your life.
Skepticism is a big theme in my life.
Right.
What we call critical thinking.
Right.
Thinking critically,
I got it.
evaluating evidence.
You haven't lost me so far. I can follow you. I don't really have a brain for science. I'm not.
Yes, you do.
Okay, well, I have one with you because you talk to people like they're in 3rd grade, and that's why I invited you on this show.
Thank you. I was trying to suppress that because it wasn't clear that it had that same connotation. But you saw what I was thinking.
Do you have a degree? Where's your degree from? You sound very shady today.
Yeah.
There, you're acting very suspicious. I want to know what's going on, and I want to know now.
But what about me? How do I become a science guy? I want to be a science guy too!
Jake Gibson, the science guy.
I'm looking more science-y already! All right.
Jake Gibson, the science guy. Jake Gibson, the science guy. Jake Gibson, the science guy. Jake Gibson, the science guy.
But wait! I still don't feel quite sciencey enough. I know!
Jake Gibson, the science guy.
Okay. Transformation nearly complete. I'm almost a science guy. Just a little bit of this here. A little bit of this action right here. Okay. Alright, and then, you guys ready? I'm turning into a science guy! Hi, I'm Jake Gibson, the science guy.
Jake Gibson, the science guy.
Guess what, children? Something really sad is happening. Yeah, kids. Your parents have been driving their cars too much, and it's causing too much pollution in our atmosphere. That's right. It's your parents' fault for driving all those cars, children. When they pollute the atmosphere, it creates lots of heat, and then we get something known as global warming. Now, global warming is very, very bad, kids. It's causing the ice in Antarctica and the North Pole to melt. Oh, dear. And guess what, children? When the ice in the North Pole and the South Pole melts, the polar bears won't have anywhere to live anymore, and that is sad. And it will also cause the oceans to rise, and it will kill us all, which would be bad, children. Polar bears having no place to live, and you and I would be dead. So tell your mom and your pa to stop driving their cars all the time and get off their fat lazy butts and walk to work from now on, because global warming is bad.
So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. Yeah. Gets wider in the middle. And so Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere, it's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
little chubbier. Yeah. Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
That's right, kids. According to my buddy Neil, the Earth has been spinning for so long, it's been causing it to start to flatten at the poles. So now it's not a perfect sphere, it's an oblate spheroid, or pear-shaped, if you will. That's right, over thousands and thousands of years, like pizza dough, the Earth is starting to widen and flatten out. So you know what that means, children? If we continue spinning around out there in space, the Earth is going to continue widening out. And then, in thousands, perhaps millions of years, the Earth will completely flatten out, just like a pizza. That's right, the Earth is going to be flat one day. It just happens to be a spheroid now and is in the process of becoming flat. So,
why don't we just skip all that shit and we'll call it flat right now? Jake Gibson, the science guy.
You're acting very suspicious. I want to know what's going on, and I want to know now.
This is different. It's different. Normally, when I address my opponent at the end, I'm addressing somebody who walked into a bear trap and had no idea what they were talking about. It's generally somebody who doesn't even know how their own globe model works, let alone even a basic starter flat earth model. But this is different. This is way different. It really is. I feel weird. It's surreal. I thought about how I was going to address you, Bill, and it's going to be weird. I'm going to talk to Bill like he's listening to me because I have this premonition that my message is going to make it to Bill. So I'm going to talk to you personally, Bill. Normally I talk to other little pissant YouTubers, but this is the first time I talk to a real celebrity. And I used to watch you when I was a little boy. I did. I'm not even kidding. I was into science and the heliocentric model my whole life until just 2 years ago. I watched Bill Nye, Mr. Wizard. I don't know. I liked a lot of what we were given as children, and I thought it was, quality Americana and entertainment that we grew up with, and truth. And I lived with that in my heart for many years. And to grow up, to be a full-grown man and to have to make a video against Bill Nye the Science Guy just feels strange. Seriously, I don't feel right cussing at you and telling you I'll come smash you and you better watch out for me because you're a Hollywood star. You've shaken hands and made some deals behind the scenes that I'll never make. You've seen and done things that I can't even dream of. I can even try to dream of it, and I can only imagine what you've done behind the scenes in Hollywood, Bill. I know that you know it's flat and motionless. That's why you gave such terrible arguments on purpose. You know and I know those arguments were purposely bad. You specifically chose words to cast a spell on everyone. We spell words within our language to cast spells on people, and that's what you did. And you've been casting spells on us since we were children. Like I said, I literally watched you when I was a little boy, and I thought you were smart. They called you a science guy. They didn't call you a scientist, though. They called you a science guy. And there's a reason. It's because you just have a bachelor's degree. You're not an official scientist. You're an actor. Which I actually think is cool. I actually think it's cooler to be a comedian and an actor than a scientist. And you were such a good comedian and such a good actor that Disney brought you up and dubbed you a science guy for the world to see. And they accepted you as Bill Nye the Science Guy. Not Bill Nye the Scientist, but Bill Nye the Science Guy. And it stuck, man. So now I gotta go not only against Bill Nye, I gotta go against Disney. I want to get fired up, it just feels weird. It feels weird to be enamored with somebody when you're a child and think that they're an authority on something. And then when you figure out it's all a lie, and now I'm the guy that has to expose Bill Nye, people aren't going to like that. People are going to... they're going to hate me. But Bill, you know that it's flat and it's motionless. You know that. That's why you brought up such terrible arguments like stand in the Mississippi River and try to see Louisiana. Come on, Bill. You're smart. You're intelligent. There's no way that you don't know that it's flat and motionless. I'm pretty sure you've shaken hands and made some promises that you can't ever divulge to the public, but I think that you're a highly paid liar, and you know for sure that it's flat and motionless. And you do videos like this and treat us all like children, like you have been your whole career, because that's what you're paid to do. You're a very talented actor, Bill. I can see why they pay you to do what you do. And it kind of sucks to be the guy to have to do this. But I know you're an actor and a comedian. You're not a real scientist. I know you know the secrets that I wish I could know. I'm going to die wondering what Bill Nye knows. But Bill Nye knows it's not a spinning ball in outer space. And that's the message here, people. He knows it's not a spinning ball in outer space. That's why he gave the worst arguments possible. He did not prove the Earth was a sphere. That's Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's supposed to come along and prove it's a sphere and save me from being a flat earther. Save me from this life. I know you make so much money. You've made more money than I'll ever make in my whole life by... I don't even know how much. I don't even want to think about it. You're rich and famous for lying. You're a bad guy, Bill. What you're doing isn't right, and you know it. You're a bad guy. You're lying to people, and you're deceiving people for a paycheck, and you know it. And you're going to have to repay that debt. And all the millions and millions you've made being a paid liar won't be able to pay that debt to the Creator when it comes due.